A quiet, brilliant daughter is belittled by her wealthy family and told her quantum research will be shut down and sold cheaply. She reveals she secretly patented her tech. It's worth billions, and she legally gains control of the company. She fires corrupt family members, rescues wronged employees, and leads a revolutionary scientific future while healing her relationship with her mother. The silverware glimmered like polished accusations. Every Sunday dinner in that mansion felt like stepping into a courtroom where love had prerequisites and achievement was currency. Tonight wasn't any different. Same chandeliers. Same curated laughter. Same feeling of being an uninvited guest inside my own life. I smoothed the sleeve of my modest black dress, a small rebellion against my sister Catherine's couture and pearls. My laptop bag rested beside my chair like a piece of armor no one saw value in. 5 years of quantum research compressed into silicon and hope. Victoria. My father's voice carved through the hum of conversation. We need to discuss your research division. I placed my fork down, heartbeat tightening like a violin string. We're shutting it down, he continued, only slightly bothered to look me in the eye. Selling the entire division. Global Tech wants it. Catherine hid a triumphant little smile behind her glass. Mother just adjusted her pearl necklace like the moment required elegance, not empathy. We're weeks from stabilization trials, I said quietly. You haven't even reviewed the data. Father waved a hand. This isn't about dreams. This is about business. Funny. He'd always mistaken my silence for weakness. He taught me to be quiet. He never expected I'd learn to make silence a weapon. A phone buzzed in my bag. Then again. Then a third time. The patent office. I swallowed. I didn't open it yet. Instead, I lifted my gaze. Dad, if I told you we were on the brink of something historic, would it matter? He sighed, tired of the daughter who refused to perform the role she was assigned. Victoria, you don't understand the real world. There it was. The family anthem. Catherine leaned in. Research is cute. Revenue is real. Another buzz. My pulse echoed with it. There was a time those comments used to bruise me. Now they just measured the distance between who they thought I was and who I had become. All right, I whispered. Real world, then. And finally, I checked my phone. My breath froze. My fingers trembled. Not from fear this time, but from the gravity of destiny finally arriving on schedule. Patent approved. Breakthrough certified. Initial valuation, $3.7 billion US. I didn't smile. Didn't gloat. A queen doesn't celebrate checkmate before placing the final piece. She watches the board fall silent. I turned my screen outward, voice steady, almost gentle. The real world just said hello. Chairs stopped mid-scrape. Catherine's glass paused midair. Father's certainty cracked like porcelain. But this wasn't my victory moment. Not yet. Real revolution begins with a whisper. And I had been quiet my whole life. Now they finally heard me. I didn't sleep that night. Not from adrenaline, but memory. People see brilliance when it blossoms. They never see the bruises that raised it. The nights in a freezing basement with failing simulations. The professors who took credit. The investors who laughed at my voice but begged for my equations. The family dinners where silence was my only defense. Every genius has 2 laboratories, the one with the machines and the one inside the chest where doubt battles desire. I lost count of how many times I almost quit. Grandpa's voice always pulled me back. Quiet minds build loud revolutions. He left me the trust fund. Not because I was favorite, but because he recognized a storm hiding in still water. And storms don't beg to be understood. They reveal themselves when the sky is ready to break. By morning, news whispers were leaking. Not headlines yet. Investors talk in shadows before sunlight reaches the world. I walked into the company lobby. No cameras. Not yet. Just the deafening hum of ambition vibrating through marble floors. Employees glanced up. Some with pity, some with confusion, a few with hope. They heard rumors too. Whispers spread faster than stock tickers. I entered the lab. My lab. Glass walls. Silent machines. Cold blue light reflecting off years of loneliness. I rested my palm against the reactor core like greeting an old friend. You and I whispered, we weren't born to be hidden. A familiar voice spoke behind me. Dr. Rivera, once my mentor, later discarded by Catherine like a faulty cog. You did it. Her voice cracked. You really did it. I did it because they tried to bury us. She nodded, eyes wet. Do you know what comes next? Yes. Fear. Pressure. Power. Expectation. And every predator circling with fake smiles. She placed a gentle hand on my shoulder. Then you don't face it alone. It hit me harder than any victory. For years I chased acceptance from people who never wanted to see me, while real allies waited in the shadows for me to believe in myself. Funny thing about building a fortress in silence. You discover who would have defended you if you ever called for help. I finally exhaled. Let's prepare. Not for revenge. Not for validation. For leadership. Greatness isn't proving people wrong. It's proving the right people right. And today, for the first time, I wasn't standing alone. Hours later, the boardroom filled with polished shoes and patterned ties. Power likes order, routine, predictability. It hates disruption with teeth. Father sat at the head, pretending nothing had shifted. The illusion of control is thicker than blood in families like ours. The legal counsel entered. Papers on the table. Terms. Transfer. Sale. Shall we finalize? Father asked, too quickly. A man rushing to seal a win before time runs out. I placed my phone down. Before signatures, I said softly, there's one detail you overlooked. All eyes turned. The quiet daughter speaking was already an event. I never accepted company funding. A ripple of confusion. A twitch in Father's jaw. Catherine shifted, sensing the floor cracking under her stilettos. My research wasn't yours to sell. Father scoffed, but uncertainty flickered. Good. Doubt enters like a draft before a storm kicks the door in. I slid forward the trust fund documents. Grandma's signature. Bank transfers. Independent lab leases. You never paid for my brilliance. You only underestimated it. Catherine leaned forward, venom suppressed by panic. This is ridiculous. You can't, I cut her off with a whisper. Watch me. Lawyers scanned. Eyes widened. Pages flipped with urgency. The room shifted. Like the second a chess opponent realizes the queen wasn't just decorative. You hid this, Father whispered. No, my voice stayed calm. I worked. You just never looked. Phones buzzed around the table. The valuation leaked. Markets trembled. Maxwell stock spiked. Someone murmured, oh my God, Catherine snapped. You're nothing without this company. I met her eyes. You stole brilliance. I built it. Then the final reveal, hidden keycard. Blueprint files. Prototype footage of the underground lab. Security footage of me disguising myself to attend meetings. Silence hung like an execution blade. You called me invisible, I said quietly. I learned to use it. Catherine lunged for the files, rage blinding her. Guards stepped forward. She froze. Humiliation tastes metallic when pride bleeds. Father stood, voice breaking. You would destroy us? I shook my head. No. You destroyed yourselves the day you valued image over innovation. Every board member watched me. Some afraid. Some in awe. Some finally seeing me. Power didn't roar. It whispered through the room like a new law written in oxygen. I wasn't here to break the dynasty. I was here to rebuild the future. And sometimes, the only way to save a house is to take it back from the ones who forgot how to live in it. Pieces moved fast after that. Lawyers confirmed. Shares transferred. Charter clause activated. Majority control fell into my hands not with violence, but inevitability. Power didn't feel like fireworks. It felt like gravity shifting, finally aligning with truth. Emergency vote, I announced. My voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. Motion. Restructure executive leadership. Dr. Rivera entered with the researchers Catherine discarded. Their faces carried scars, not visible but carved by humiliation, fear, lost years. These were my people. Brilliant. Wounded. Loyal to progress, not pride. This is not your company, Father growled. I turned, meeting the man who raised me on silence and polished expectations. You taught me legacy matters above all, I murmured. I am protecting it in ways you never could. A murmur of support rose. Courage is contagious, especially when someone finally lights the match. Catherine stood abruptly, fear disguised as fury. You think the world will follow you? You're a scientist, not a leader. I didn't flinch. Real leaders build. Pretenders protect thrones. Security approached. Tears filled her eyes between rage and realization. She wasn't losing power. She was losing illusion. Father slumped into his chair. Not anger now. Something softer. Regret wearing armor. You really planned all this, he whispered. I nodded. Not to defeat you. To survive you. His shoulders sagged. For a moment, he looked smaller. Human. Flawed. A man raised in a world where control mattered more than connection. And there it was. My unexpected heartbreak. Victory doesn't erase the child who once wanted to be seen. I pushed the emotion down. Later. Grief and triumph rarely share plates. Dr. Rivera, I said, you lead innovation. She blinked away tears. With honor. And the displaced researchers? They'll build everything we were never allowed to. The board voted. Resolution passed. I became what they feared and what I prepared for, not heir. Architect. Power can be corrupted, but it can also be purified by those who tasted powerlessness long enough to respect it. I breathed in, exhaled steady. The storm had arrived, but I was no longer drowning in it. I was directing where it rained. The media storm erupted. Headlines flashed. Investors scrambled. Engineers reached out from across the globe. But the real battlefield wasn't the press. It was one closed office. Father sat alone, staring at photos of us. Young me on his shoulders. Catherine shining like a gem. Mother perfect and poised. Family portrait of illusion. I paused in the doorway. For once, he didn't command the space. The space swallowed him. You came to say you won, he muttered. No, I said quietly. I came to say goodbye to the version of me who needed you to believe in her. He looked up. Eyes glassy. A bruise of pride and grief mixed. I wasn't trying to hurt you, he whispered. I know, I replied softly. That's what hurt. He swallowed hard. I pushed you because I didn't want you small. You made me silent, I corrected. But silence isn't small. It grows teeth. A long pause. A lifetime inside it. I'm proud now, he said weakly. It landed clumsy, late, fragile. But in that broken sentence lived the father I wished I'd known sooner. I placed the retirement letter on the desk. Innovation builds worlds, I murmured. Control destroys them. He nodded, defeated, relieved, afraid. Sometimes triumph feels like healing wrapped in sorrow. I turned to leave. He called after me. Victoria. I paused. You became more than we dreamed. I didn't look back. My voice softer than forgiveness, sharper than vengeance. No. I became what you refused to imagine. And I walked out. The quiet girl finally leaving the table that never fed her. Thunder didn't crash. Applause didn't echo. Just a single, profound truth settling. Being underestimated had been my greatest power because it taught me to win in silence. A month later, sunlight spilled through glass walls of the new research hub. No marble. No gold. Just bright minds and open doors. Mother stood beside me. Not polished, not cold. A woman relearning softness. You rebuilt everything, she whispered. No, I smiled gently. I built what should have existed. Screens displayed breakthroughs. Quantum oncology. Atmospheric healing models. Encryption no empire could weaponize. Students toured the labs. Young faces full of hunger, hope, unpolished brilliance. The kind of kids who once sat alone at lunch tables doing equations instead of gossip. My voice cracked when I greeted them. You don't need to be loud to change the world. Sometimes silence is where revolutions learn to breathe. Mother's hand tightened around mine. I'm glad I get to see who you truly are. I leaned my head slightly against hers. Small gesture. Big history. You always could have, I said softly. You just looked at the world's noise instead of my quiet. She nodded, tears shining without shame. I won't make that mistake again. A message pinged. Clinical trial results. 98% remission rates. The kind that rewrites medicine. I closed my eyes. Grandpa would be smiling. The world would be changed. And the girl once dismissed at her own dinner table? She had built a universe from silence. Before stepping into the press room, I whispered a truth into the air, into the halls, into the future. They underestimated silence. But silence learns. Silence builds. Silence arrives right on time. And then I faced the world. Not as the quiet one. As the woman who turned quiet into power, wounds into fuel, intelligence into salvation. Not a princess of legacy. A mother of revolutions. Not the heir to a fortune. The architect of tomorrow. And somewhere, in every overlooked mind watching, a spark lit. Maybe the quiet ones don't need permission. Maybe they were always the storm. Fade out.